There was a school shooting today, September 6th, in Baltimore County, Maryland, and Hartford. I'm sorry, that's Hartford County, Joppatown, Joppatowne, Joppatown, Maryland. A teenager was shot and killed on the campus of the high school at Joppatown High School. Another teen accused of shooting the victim is already in custody and has been arrested. But because school shootings are so commonplace in the United States, almost a daily occurrence, in some instances, a weekly occurrence when the school year is in session, depending on where you are in the country, you may not even hear about this school shooting that happened in Maryland, right? Simply because it was one victim shot, one victim killed. And tragically, in America, it has to be multiple fatalities, usually to make a blip on the national news, right? And such is the case that happened in Winder, Georgia this week. Do me a favor, you guys. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Please engage with the content. Like, share, subscribe, follow us places around the internet, BIDWKB. So if you think that this is a gun problem, you would be in part right. I believe this more to be a mental health crisis that we are experiencing in this country that nobody in political power seems at all interested in addressing. Democrats give gun control some lip service, but they propose policies that are ineffective and don't work. And if their policies, such as universal background checks and red flag laws, which I agree on the surface sound great, but let's apply them practically to some of these school shootings and mass shootings that have happened over the recent decades in this country. A lot of times, universal background check wouldn't have prevented the shooting from happening, would have not prevented the shooter from acquiring the weapon. Red flag laws could work if the cops gave a fuck and actually did their job. So in addition to this latest school shooting being a tragedy in which school children and school teachers literally going to school is a life or death proposition here in this country. Aside from that being the obvious tragedy, this is in addition to it being a crisis of mental health infrastructure failings, right? Healthcare failings. Ain't shit story. Also, everybody. So let's be clear about that. The cops failed here. And I want us to take a look, if we could, at the NBC News package. Okay. Now we're going to do a little bit of media analysis and a little bit of media critique. And we're going to talk about what we hear and what we don't hear in this here package. Now, this package does not reflect the arraignment of both Colt Gray and his father, Colin Gray. So Colt Gray, the 14-year-old alleged school shooter there in Georgia, and his father, 54-year-old Colin Gray, who has now also been charged criminally with a number of charges, including murder and manslaughter, which is crazy. And not crazy. I mean, it's crazy that is a thing. It's good, I suppose. And I guess prosecuting parents for the misdeeds of their kids is going to be, the de facto gun control, I suppose. But anyway, let us get into this package because it's not impressive and it's full of propaganda. And I'll let y'all pick it out. But let's go ahead and run that, Will. Thank you.
Tonight, terrifying moments inside the deadly school shooting in Winder, Georgia, coming into clearer focus. Killing 4 and injuring 9 at Appalachia High School. The suspect, 14-year-old Colt Gray, now in custody and charged with 4 counts of felony murder. Investigators searching his home. Authorities say they're looking into a potential motive and how he obtained an AR-style rifle.
It was carnage. There was blood everywhere. You could smell the gunpowder
Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith says it was the suspect's second day at Appalachia High. The FBI and Jackson County Sheriff's Office say Gray and his father were interviewed last year after receiving several anonymous tips in May 2023 about potential threats posted to an online gaming platform, according to a senior law enforcement official, containing photographs of guns. His father stated he had hunting guns in the house, but said his son did not have unsupervised access to them. With no probable cause to arrest Gray, authorities say they told local schools to monitor him.
Do you think this could have been prevented given the fact that there were already warnings about him?
Possibly. It's speculation. Again, I believe and I feel confident that the FBI, the system worked.
The sheriff says an alert system called Centegix worked. At about 10:20 a.m. yesterday, authorities say teachers began activating a button on their badge that placed the school on lockdown. Within minutes, officials say law enforcement arrived on scene. Sheriff Smith credits 3 school resource officers with getting the suspect to surrender within 6 minutes of the first alert from teachers.
I gave him verbal commands and he dropped the gun, went on the ground, and they took him into custody immediately.
Among the victims, 14-year-old classmates Christian Angulo and Mason Schermerhorn, and 2 math teachers, 39-year-old Richard Aspinwall and 53-year-old Christina Irami. Adriana Phillip is a senior at Appalachia High. She says she was in class when she heard the gunshots.
We ran to the back of the classroom and we all huddled behind the lab tables. And from where I was, I could see the door. So I watched it, but then after a little bit, I just closed my eyes and I was hugging the girl next to me.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated.
All right. So a lot there. So where do we begin? So there has been some new information revealed since that package. Obviously, the question asked by the reporter was, authorities are wondering how Colt Gray obtained an AR-style weapon. Well, we know now how he got it. His daddy gave it to him, gifted it to him for Christmas. For Christmas. Welcome to America, where weapons of war are given to children as gifts, right? What else did we see there in the package? Oh, yes. So Colt Gray, previously accused of making threats to shoot up a school while he was a 13-year-old 8th grader, allegedly making these threats on the Discord platform, and law enforcement being alerted to these threats, right? So there's that. And then when you hear the sheriff say there, and again, I know how shit is edited and may be taken out of context, but the way it was spliced and diced, the sheriff said the system worked. And then they go into detail this alert system that is newly implemented. Again, a sad reflection of our dystopian reality, right? In which teachers have to have direct access to law enforcement to make them aware that a imminent life or death threat is occurring in the school. Okay. So you hear the sheriff there talking about the system worked. Well, let's be clear. The system didn't fucking work. 4 people were murdered. 9 people were injured. In what world can anybody, cop, reporter, school administrator, parent, anybody, in what world can anybody say with 4 dead, the system worked? Oh, because the police were able to respond within 5 minutes? Does anybody, class, would you like to tell everybody else how many bullets an AR-15 can let off in 5 minutes? Hundreds? 1,000? Depending on your ammo, right? You can do you hear these fucking cops talking about the system worked? With 4 bodies on the scene of a public high school. And we want to send our condolences and sympathies to Christian, to Mason, to the 2, I believe, 14-year-old students that were murdered, to the families of the teachers that were murdered. I mean, what the fuck? And this has been going on for so long. You know, when did Columbine happen? Late 90s. So here we are. Knocking almost 30 years of school shootings. We're not counting the mass shootings, right? Mass shootings, will put them in a separate category. But these school shootings, we've had a generation and a half of American youth students to drill in preparation and expectation of someone armed coming to shoot up their school. And this is regular. And then the police in 2024 congratulate themselves and say that the system worked while they have 4 bodies, 9 people in the hospital. Fortunately, though, it seems that the 9 people that were injured will be able to recover fully, says the news. There was another aspect about that there. What else was the other thing about there that I was going to call out? Because it's so routine and regular now that even the news kind of covers it in a regular way. Well, what can be done? Nothing. I didn't hear anything about being done. Oh, let me say this. So some additional information has come out about the living situation with this family. So Colt, the child, the 14-year-old, was starting Appalachia High School on his second day. Okay. And while he and his father say that Colt had been bullied at his previous school, this was a new school, right? This was a new high school. He was starting as a freshman, and it was day 2 of school for him. So what are the likelihood or what are the chances that Colt was experiencing some intense bullying on day 2 of school? I say slim to none. This kid didn't shoot up the fucking school because he was bullied. This kid shot up the school because this is what the fuck he's been planning and thinking about for at least over a year. The feds or the fuzz, the law enforcement authorities have reported that once they searched the Gray family home, they found materials and I guess searches that indicate that he had been preoccupied, obsessed with school shootings. The Discord post that he is alleged to have put up himself, although the feds say that there was no evidence that the posts came from him, but somebody thought it came from him because they called and dropped his name, right? Allegedly, these posts were in some form posted in Russian, and the poster's name was, I guess, written in Cyrillic. And when they translated the name into English, it translated to Adam Lanza. Adam Lanza, the Sandy Hook school shooter. If you guys don't remember, that the Sandy Hook school shooting, Sandy Hook Elementary School, in which an innumerable number of children and teachers were murdered by this fucking pussy. And America shrugged. They said, "Oh, you don't say." Adam Jones started a whole cottage industry of Alex Jones, rather. I'm sorry. Adam Jones is a ball player, 2 ball players anyway. Alex Jones started a whole cottage industry of denialism about the massacre at Sandy Hook, right? I knew America was done for. I mean, America has shown lots of indications that it's done for in terms of its morality. So many instances you can't even count them. But when the elementary school got shot up and didn't shit happen, didn't shit change on the political side, nothing happened. I said, wow, America, and in particular white America, you should be made explicitly and clearly made aware about what the powers that be think about the safety of your kids. Now, Black and brown parents and families and communities, we already know. Okay, we know how they feel about us. The school to prison pipeline is a thing in Black and brown public schools, in effect, way more than it could ever be in effect at white schools. So we already know what time it is. But white folks, y'all need a wake-up call here, baby, because it's dangerous and it's getting worse. So one aspect, again, of the report, you saw a clip there from the interview from May of 2023 when the FBI went to interview Colt and Colin Gray pertaining to these Discord threats, these alleged threats to shoot up a school. And one thing the father said, that Colt doesn't have unsupervised access to these guns. Does he have access to the guns? Yeah, but it's not unsupervised access. So he has access. So if Colt got good and ready, he could just go in the room and get him whatever he needs. Does he need the Glock? Does he need the shotty? What does he need? He needed the AR on that day, right? Will, do me a favor. Let's cue up that interview with the FBI because again, let us circle back to cops ain't shit. Okay. Cops got one fucking job, allegedly, and that is to keep the public safe. Okay. And we have seen on a number of instances in which either laws weren't followed, either for background checks, or red flag laws or red flag warnings were blatantly ignored. And then people ended up getting murdered, right? Because the cops don't do their fucking job. I don't know what they do. I guess they sit around with their thumb up their ass. I don't know what they do. But I want you guys to see the chumminess and the ease and, the sort of friendly banter between this FBI agent and this dad. And the son is there. And, like most psychos, he's able to, keep it cool. You know what I'm saying? I watch Signs of a Psychopath on ID channel, baby. The psychopaths are gifted. They are gifted actors. Okay. They can mask and camouflage that shit like it ain't nothing. And here come Colt. Now, guys, wait, side question. Do you guys think Colt is named after a bucking young horse, or do you think Colt was named after the fucking pistol? What do you think Colt was named after? Well, I think it'll become clear once we look at this interview. So, regardez, les cops ain't shit. And this is from May of 2023. So let's take a look at that.
I used to. I don't have any.
Let me ask you this: Do you have weapons in the house?
I do.
Are they accessible to him?
They are. I mean, there's nothing loaded, but they are down.
Okay.
We do a lot of shooting. We do a lot of deer hunting. He shot his first deer this year. I'm trying to teach him about firearms and safety and how to do it all and get him interested in the outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
Like on my phone.
Get him away from those video games.
Exactly right. He knows the seriousness of weapons and what they can do and how to use them and not use them. So it's kind of a little bit of a shock.
Yeah.
Like, it's no joke.
But we wouldn't be here if it was.
No, I know. And I'm telling you right now, we talk about it quite a bit.
Okay.
All the school shootings, things that happen.
Yeah,
Hey, are you getting picked on at school? He is. He's getting picked on at school, and is everything okay? That's why I keep going up there.
Yeah.
Because you never really know, and I don't want anything to happen to him. So, yeah. Y'all
all right. Well, if you want to grab them,
yeah, y'all talk.
Or we can go in.
It's all cool. Hang on.
Have you heard anybody on Discord when you were using it say something like that? Do you remember?
Like at that time?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think I ever had anybody that.
Never. And I mean, I'm not trying to get anybody hemmed up, but like, this is some serious stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, he knows how serious it is. Trust me.
So I just want to make sure you understand that if something like that happens or you hear something like that, to report it.
Yeah, yes,
tell your dad, tell teacher.
Like I told him, I would promise I would never say something.
And you're saying you didn't say anything like that.
No, the only thing I have is TikTok, but I just go around there and watch videos.
Okay.
I just.
All right. Well, fair enough. He's just gonna do a little report saying that pretty much what we've done in reference to this, and that we talked, and you saying that you didn't say anything like that, and I gotta take you at your word, and I hope you're being honest with me.
Oh, yes,
I'm not saying you're lying, but it's
a serious thing. Yeah.
It's not unusual for people to lie to the police.
Here come Dad. Yeah, he has access to them, but they're not loaded. Oh, I guess he just don't know where the ammo is, right? Yeah, he got access to the guns, but they're not loaded. And we talk about this all the time about school shooting and gun safety, and I'm trying to teach him. I'm trying to teach him about firearms. I want him to know about firearms and how they work and what they can do. Oh, I think he knows what they can do. Here come Dad. Oh, he shot his first deer. Oh, wow. That's excellent. Well, he done shot 4 fucking people now, Dad. Shot his first deer last year. Now he done shot 4. He got 4 bodies on him. I'm sorry. My apologies. Actually, he shot 13 people, right? 4 people murdered, 9 people injured. That 9 plus 4 was 13. Oh, he shot his first deer last year, y'all. Now he done shot 13 humans. He's on a roll. I'm imagining just like his father envisioned for him. And it's so strange. It's so strange. And it speaks so much, number one, about how boys are socialized in America, period. And I think that is across racial lines, right? But the difference is that the guns are placed into the hands of white boys by their families with intention, right? You need to know how to handle firearms. I don't think that black parents make the guns as accessible in the home as white parents do, for the simple fact that black parents understand that their children get killed with cell phones in their hands. Their children, black children, get murdered with BB guns in their hands. This happened. There's a kid out here right now, Elijah Hadley, shot I think 19 fucking times by a sheriff's deputy. Elijah Hadley shot 19 times, had an airsoft pistol in his hand. Here come Colt Gray, shoots 13, murders 4. What does Colt get to do, everybody? Colt gets to surrender peacefully. Exactly. I knew as soon as I heard the shooter surrendered, it was able to surrender peacefully. I said, oh, he's white. I knew it was white. Knew he was white, because only that type of consideration of life is afforded to white people in America, right? By law enforcement. Had he been black, because we know black people don't actually have to be committing crimes or even the person that police are looking for. If they happen to fit the description, or if they move too quick, or if they raise their voice too loud, we black people understand how quickly we can become murder victims for literally not doing anything. But white folks don't have such fears. Lucky them. Here come the fucking cop. Well, I'm not trying to get nobody hemmed up. You not. Shouldn't you be? Didn't we have a threat of a school shooting? Shouldn't you be trying to hem somebody up? Isn't that important? Aren't we trying to get to the bottom of this? Well, I guess I'm just going to have to take your word for it. Wow. Guys, let's switch up the scenarios. Let's switch up the scenarios for a moment if we could. Let's say Colt is black child. Let's say Colt was alleged to have been making school shooting threats online. You think the FBI is showing up friendly? I'm sorry. You think the FBI is showing up without child protective services? What do you mean you have all these guns and this child has access, unfettered access to these guns? That's endangering the welfare of a child. That's child neglect. That's child abuse, black parent. We're going to open up a case on you, black parent. We're going to remove the child from your home, black parent. You're raising your child in unsafe conditions, but yet the white kids, that's how they're raised, right? Raised around guns, trying to teach them about guns. And hold on, let me get back to the socialization of males. And I guess in this case, specifically white males. Did you see the emphasis that the dad put on making sure that the son knows firearm safety? And I ask him if he's okay because he's getting bullied at school. And I want to make sure he's okay. Motherfucker, you should have been making sure his classmates was okay. Your son was the threat. And not to say, and I don't know whether or not this child had received any sort of mental health counseling or was, receiving any sort of mental health treatment, but the father didn't mention that. He didn't say, what he did say, he says, we talk about these school shootings all the time. Okay, but I don't hear you mentioning that you talk about your son's mental and emotional health. You ask him if he's okay. He's 14. You think he's going to tell you? No, he's not. But do you think he may tell someone else? He may tell a counselor. He may tell a peer counselor. He may tell a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Maybe. And from what I understand, this young man was in a bit of mental health distress. But to be clear, it doesn't excuse anything that he did, because given the time that he made this alleged threat, and by the way, that interview with the FBI agent happened May of 2023. That Christmas. This past Christmas, December 2023, guess what Colt got? Guess what Santa Claus brought Colt, everybody? Guess what? Santa Claus brought Colt the AR-15. He got it as a gift from his dad, a present, a weapon of war. And for this fucking piece of shit father to talk about, well, I like to teach him hunting, and he shot his first deer this year. What animal do we hunt with AR-15s? Elephants? What the fuck? What are we hunting with AR-15s? Rhinos? Not even. An AR-15 is not a hunting weapon. It destroys flesh. You shoot an animal with an AR-15, clearly you have no intention of eating it because it's going to be wrecked, destroyed, inconsumable. So tell me again why the 14-year-old got a fucking AR-15 for Christmas. Because this is America, everybody. And whilst we all are unwell on some level, the rest of us are unwell because we are colonized, okay? We are suffering the effects of colonization and capitalism. And I guess on some level, the whites are impacted by capitalism as well. But baby, the psychosis of whiteness. I cannot wait until Dr. Kehinde Andrews' book is on audiobook. It's out right now. The Psychosis of Whiteness. I can't wait to hear it because I recognize it very clearly, very easily. And I'm not the only one. So we'll cue up white mom. I want to shout out the whites, to the whites that are here to collect and drag the other whites because they need dragging. Franny, I know you do this work in your life. I know the rest of y'all try out here, but it's too few of you all that is willing to drag your folks. Something is the matter in white America's homes. Nobody asks the question, where are the fathers when these white boys do this fucking murderous, despicable, disgusting, inhuman shit? Nobody asks what's being taught in the white churches. Nobody asks, are the white boys dressing for success in school? You know what I'm saying? Where is the rally? Where is the increase the peace, stop the violence rallies in white America, in white neighborhoods, in white towns? Usually it might happen after the fact, after a tragedy like this has occurred. But there does not seem to be any willingness to confront, while not exclusive, but somewhat unique to white males and mass shootings and school shootings. And those conversations are not happening on a broad level. It's all individualized, right? And I'm pretty sure Republicans and Trump, this kid was deranged. Republicans, sometimes they say, he was unwell. He had a mental problem. We don't have a gun problem. We have a mental health problem. Correct. Now, what the fuck are y'all going to do about it? Absolutely nothing, as I thought. So anyway, Will, we're going to listen to this white mom. White mom came through on TikTok and said, the fuck? White folks, white parents, the fuck is we doing out here? And I said, okay, white mom, you better go on. So go ahead, Will. Let's listen to radical white mom out here.
If you think it's I'm sorry if you think it's too early to politicize what happened in Georgia yesterday, but I will not allow the NRA to dictate how I talk about this issue that is impacting all of us. The majority of school blank and mass blank that are happening across this country are being committed by white boys. So let me ask you this. If you're a parent, white women, what are we doing? Because this year in April, I got married, and in doing so became a bonus mom of 2 beautiful little boys. And I have to tell you, every day we're combating messaging. Every day we're working on sharing emotions, expressing anger. We're working on things as parents to ensure that we are raising emotionally healthy, mature, communicative young men in the future. So I'm really concerned that that's not happening. What I'm understanding is that yes, this is 100% a pew-pew access to pew-pew problem, but as a culture, we are raising violent human beings. The overexposure and glorification of violence in our households has to stop. You have got to get a hold of what we are showing, teaching, exposing our children to, and being better, more present parents, because this is a problem in white households. So if we are white parents, we have to do something about it.
And I appreciate her saying that. And my impression is that she kind of is referring to classed households, right? Whatever middle class goes for in America these days. On my left. I don't know what middle class goes for in America these days, but that's kind of the impression that I'm getting from her, right? And I'm sure maybe we have some racists, some trolls. Who the fuck knows? Shout out to my mods out here. Handle that. But they'd be like, well, with the black kids, it'd be black kids out here shooting. Who's up here shooting in Chicago? Who's all the black kids? It'd be the black kids shooting. Let's examine the socioeconomic conditions of these black kids that are shooting. First of all, it's not even a majority of black kids. It is a very small proportion of black children. But usually the places in which these shootings are taking place are in impoverished areas where the housing is not great. Food insecurity and food deserts are a thing. The quality of the public school system, not very good. Access to jobs and public transportation that can take adults to jobs, pretty much lacking. So the criticisms about proximate violence or lateral violence amongst poor people in poor communities, it's not a justification, but it's a reason. It's not an excuse, but it's a reason, right? It happens for a reason. When people are in dire conditions, they tend to lash out at whoever's close, right? But the difference is with these white families, I would argue that most of these school shooters and mass shooters who have been white have come from two-parent households, not exclusively, but a majority, have access to health care, have been identified in some way, and have received some sort of mental health care and in their lives at some point. And yet, what do their parents do? Well, they don't pay attention to them. They clearly don't raise them. They leave them to the television and to the video games, buying whatever fucking shoot 'em up video game that they want, not giving any thought to what that repeated exposure to that kind of violence is doing to the developing brain, not giving a care about that. And then in some cases, like this one in Georgia, and like the Crumbleys, Ethan Crumbly and his parents in Michigan, where Ethan Crumbly, I believe, murdered 6 of his classmates with a pistol that was gifted to him by his parents. They gave it to him as a gift. There you go, Ethan. Don't shoot nobody on the first day, Ethan. And, that case obviously was a precedent case, stood out because it was the first time, or the first, I don't know about ever, but in recent memory, in which parents were charged criminally for the conduct of their child who went into a school and shot it up. And they were charged, I believe, or convicted rather, of involuntary manslaughter. And I believe some negligence was in there too, again, because they gifted the child the gun and weren't ensuring that the child didn't have unfettered access to the fucking gun. So what did the kid do when he went to school? Oh, and by the way, the Crumbleys, in case you guys didn't follow that case, I did that trial. When the teacher became aware that Ethan was on his phone in class searching for ammo, the school contacted the parents, made them aware, and requested that the parents come pick him up. And the parents said, "We're too busy. We're too busy. Can't come get him. Too busy. Too busy." And what did Ethan do? In the school erroneously sent this fucking murderous motherfucker back to class. And then he proceeded to shoot and kill his classmates. The Crumbleys, all 3 of them as a family doing that time together. And that's likely what's going to happen here with Colt and his father, Colin. And from what I understand, we're going to hear more about this kid's home life coming out. But I've been getting bits and snatches that, in fact, Child Protective Services had been contacted about what was going on at that house. Apparently, the fights between Colt's parents would get violent, right? Or get very loud. Neighbors complained that they argued and fought loudly and viciously on a regular basis. Neighbors also complained to Child Protective Services that Colt and his younger siblings would sometimes be locked out of the house during late hours while the parents were inside fighting. And in fact, I believe it's been reported that the mother, Colt's mother, either left the home voluntarily or was evicted or had to leave in order for custody to be maintained or some shit. I don't know. Like they made her leave, and I think she took the two younger ones, and Colt stayed with his dad, who bought him AR-15 guns and taught him all about gun safety, but didn't teach him shit about checking his emotions and making sure he wasn't having murderous thoughts, and didn't even know that I maybe he did know, and maybe he didn't give a fuck. I don't see how you don't know what your child is searching online in 2024. Like all the protocols, all the guardrails need to be in place. And if I see my child of any age, to be honest, but living in my household, school age, searching mass shooters and seeming to have a preoccupation with school shooters, we're having conversations. And even beyond conversations, I'm taking you to go talk to somebody. This is probably, I'm way out of my depth here trying to figure out why my 14-year-old is obsessed with school shooters. But what you don't do is you don't teach the kid how to be better at guns. When you see he's already got a unhealthy curiosity for murdering situations, right? You don't encourage that by giving him better firearm training. And the fact that this cop, well, let me rephrase, the dad didn't see anything wrong with it, and the cop didn't either. The cop was like, yeah, teach him about guns, get him away from those video games. Wow. Wow. Can someone please rescue me and get me the fuck up out of here? Thank you so much. We live in the dystopia, everybody. And I keep saying this. For all the liberals and all the Democrats that, we got to get the guns off the street, and Republicans don't want to do anything about the guns, and we need universal background checks. We need red flag laws. We need. These things don't work. They would not have worked in this case because universal background check for whoops, beloved? The father who legally purchased the gun, who would get the background check? Colt didn't need a background check. He just went in the room. he just went in the room and grabbed the fucking AR. The background check for who? Dylan Roof, who murdered 9 precious people at Mother Emanuel Church in South Carolina, had the background check, right? And was supposed to get flagged for not being able to buy the pistol, but the background check, the paperwork got shuffled. The paperwork yinged when it zigged when it sort of zagged when it was supposed to zag. And Dylan was able to get his hands on that pistol with the background check, not catching a fucking thing. That piece of shit in Buffalo, New York, even though he wasn't from Buffalo, by the way, he was from upstate New York, Peyton Genderon. The one who shot up the top supermarket in Buffalo, killing 10 or more black folks, innocent, minding their fucking business. He had the red flag on his ass because he had previously made a threat in his high school the year before. And the cops went and talked to him. You know what they did? Just like that fucking FBI piece of shit motherfucker. Yeah, they went and talked to Peyton and his dad. Had a conversation with Peyton and his dad. And Peyton's dad assured the police that, Peyton doesn't have access. We've got everything locked up. And Peyton's name, in the interest of not ruining his life, Lord have mercy, in the interest of not putting a mark on his name, the police did not put his name on that red flag list. And the next year, Peyton was able to legally buy firearms and go and murder black people. Excuse me. But Democrats will lead you to believe that if we put these laws in place, that somehow the gun problem would go away. And where I agree with Republicans is I don't think we have a gun problem. Well, let me rephrase. We do have a gun problem. We have over 400 million guns, and it's a problem that is not, unfortunately, going to go away. But what we can do is make available resources, like on a nationalized basis, on a, dare I say, nationalized healthcare, universal healthcare. if America, well, let me rephrase. If the elites and our political leaders do not want to create a universal healthcare system to help everybody of their illnesses ranging from asthma to cancer to everything in between, if they don't want to do that, like if our leaders and the elites don't want to provide a nationalized system to that does intensive treatments like chemotherapy and such, okay, can we at least do the mental health thing? Can we at least do that? Because people that are experiencing mental health crisis and who are in mental health distress are inflicting irreparable harm on all of their respective communities. From intimate partner violence to child abuse to gun violence. If we had access, if we had and I think the infrastructure could be created. We hear, well, at least I've heard that there are a number of shortages for mental health care providers, for psychologists, counselors, social workers. We have a deficit of people filling those positions. Well, instead of the school to prison pipeline, how about we make a school to professional pipeline? Why don't we make it so that people who want to pursue mental health careers, how about we make it free for them to do so? How about we pay for their education and for their training? Because them being in place, having trained professionals at the ready, benefits society. It does. More so than continuing to construct new jails, yes? And more so than these fucking phony ass policies like background checks and red flag laws that haven't been proven to really prevent any of these mass tragedies that we have seen and continue to see. And the only thing I can deduce, so I can deduce many things, but one thing I take away is they're not interested, y'all. There's no interest. There's no political interest in doing that. And it's like, fine, the Democrats again want to position it as though it's the NRA, it's the gun lobby. Yeah, they are standing in the way of gun regulation. So maybe we should pivot. Maybe we should try to find a way around that. Maybe the gun lobby has proven itself to be entirely too strong and political leaders entirely too weak and feckless to take them on. So why don't we create the infrastructure, the healthcare infrastructure, so that people, men in particular, boys in particular, won't reach for the pistol when they are feeling distressed or bullied or anxious or lonely or horny or whatever emotion men feel in which they feel completely justified to go and murder people. We do have a gun problem. Yep. We have a lack of mental health care problem. Yep. And we have a man problem, y'all. Man down. How are we raising these boys out here? And I don't really care the gender, but these shoot 'em up games are not healthy. They're not. I don't know what you're training your kid to do. Like, what is it? What's the end goal here? You trying to are we trying to train up a new generation of snipers? Like, what the fuck? And I have tremendous disappointment and curiosity towards parents that let their kids play these games unsupervised. Let them play these shits for hours. Why? Because the kid wants to? Okay, and if you tell the kid no, then what? Are you scared of them? You might be. Shit. These little motherfuckers is dangerous. You might be scared to tell them no. I get that, but fuck that. These motherfuckers, I'm sorry when I say these motherfuckers, these kids, these little motherfuckers ain't got jobs. How in the hell else is Colt getting the $600? I'm assuming Colt has a PS5 or whatever this shit is, PS10, whatever. Who gave him $700 to buy that shit? Mama and daddy. Parents, you have control here and you got to assert it. Okay? I know your kids run you and you scared of them and shit. but you better get a hold of these little motherfuckers young, pre-K. Okay? And one way you can do it is not letting them become digital dope fiends when they're a year old and 2 years old and 3 years old. Okay? The phone and the tablet are not babysitters. And trust me, I have empathy. I do. I swear to God, I do. For single parents who are doing everything on their own. They are cooking the meals. They are getting the kids ready for school. They are doing the homework. They are doing. I get it. You put the kid in front of the screen, that motherfucker is quiet. I get it. You could actually go do some shit. Yeah. I mean, but shit, be mindful at least what's on the goddamn screen, or what game is allowed to be played here. What skill is your child acquiring that is going to benefit them in life by getting good at these shoot 'em up games? Can we consider that? And guess what? And if you are getting the kids shoot 'em up games, maybe not have guns in the house, you know? Let the only gun in the house be the fake gun, be the video game gun. Let's not give the kid the access to the real gun. Especially if you are not sure as to how your child is doing and what their mental health status is like. So I expect us to hear more about Colt and Colin, encouraged and surprised that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation did charge the father here, and he's facing big time charges, shorty. The boy is facing 4 counts of first degree murder, I believe, but the father is facing murder charges, second degree murder charges, involuntary manslaughter charges, cruelty or harm to children charges. Like, Pops is going down for this. It's a wrap. Ola, he can forget it. But if only keeping the parents or holding the parents legally accountable is our backdoor way into gun control, it's still a stupid and very ineffective way, because the parents are only held criminally liable after the tragic incident has happened, after either lives have been lost or people have been harmed. That ain't the way, baby. that is not the way to do this. And so don't let Cop Mala, or Trump for that matter, hit you with the same flim flam, hit you with the same rigmarole. I really wish some of these reporters, when given those answers by politicians, well, we just need, stricter background checks. We need Let me tell you something. The gun laws in Maryland and in DC are very intense. And let me assure you, they still be shooting in Maryland and in DC. Okay. Like, the gun laws don't stop motherfuckers from shooting. So my point is, when asked, hopefully they will be asked, and hopefully their answer on its surface won't be the answer that's allowed to just lay there. Hopefully they get follow-up questions, but I never hear these politicians asked as a follow-up, well, the implementation or a universal background check or a red flag law would not have worked in this mass shooting, this school shooting, this mass shooting, this school shooting, because it's a long list in which these laws would not have been effective at all. Even if they were in place, they would not have been effective. And I don't hear the response to that from the politicians. You know what I'm saying? And then on the Republican side, when the Republicans say, these people had mental health crisis, agreed. So what are your policies? How do you intend to address the mental health crisis? Like, the lack of journalism in this country is disgusting. And it's part of the reason why these politicians are allowed to just get in front of microphones and just say whatever the fuck, because they know that ain't nobody going to ask them no real goddamn questions. We see it time and time again. I'm tired, y'all. Tired.